Welcome back, Learn Commercial. I'm Robert Creamer. Today we're going to talk about retail commercial real estate. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. I wish we had a blooper reel though, because I actually started talking for about 20 minutes twice about the module before I shared the screen. So this is lucky number 3. So let's go. Make sure we're sharing. Got it. Okay, third time's a charm, right? Okay, so retail real estate, let's go. All right, so what are the different types of retail properties, right? We're gonna go over those today. What's the importance of a great tenant mix? And why is that important? In every market, I'm sure you've seen centers that you're like, what happened there? That center used to be fantastic, slowly but surely, it just became less crowded in the parking lots, fewer and fewer cars, restaurants went out, now it looks dead. And then there's certain areas where they can't have a bad tenant, or it appears that way. Their parking lot is always full. It seems like everything's just hopping. You have a tough time getting a reservation for dinner. There's no more parking spaces. It's just always packed, right? Why is that? What questions should I be asking landlords or prospective tenants when I'm handling retail commercial real estate? So let's go over the different types of retail. Now, before we do that though, I'm sure you can all, commercial real estate follows households, especially retail. The more households you have coming into an area, the more retail, the more malls, the more convenience stores, the more restaurants will be following. They follow households. So with new development comes a lot of new retail. Like where I built my house up here in Aubrey, Texas, which is just north of Frisco, there's a road called 380. Before there was nothing on it, and now, wow, tons of retail, big box stores coming in, Walmart, Home Depot, Kroger, Academy, you name it. This is also where the PGA, I want to say PGA Superstore, but that's not right. The PGA headquarters moved from Florida. Now they're going to be located in, they want to call it Frisco, Texas. It's right on the edge of Frisco, Aubrey, Prosper, Salina, that area, but way north Dallas. They're coming here, building 2 new golf courses, right? Booming area, but it's following this massive growth of households. At one point, there was 5,400 houses under contract or being developed on this one street. Now it's a long street, but it's crazy. A little bit of a tangent, let's jump in. All right, malls, right? Everyone knows malls, right? They're the easiest to identify due to the sheer size. Right? Typically, they start around 300 to 400,000 square feet, and they can grow into the market, right? They can add on, like we have one in Dallas. I keep talking about Dallas, obviously, I live here, I know it the best, but in Dallas, we have North Park, which is near Highland Park. It's just north of downtown on 75, and it was a pretty good sized mall. But with the growth of the city and the growth of households and the dense population increasing, that mall's probably doubled in size. So they can grow into the marketplace. Now the largest mall, which is, this is crazy, 7.1 million square feet. Could you imagine trying to find your store in that location? I mean, that is crazy. That's convention size. All right, generally speaking, the shopping area is enclosed. They carry an array of department stores, food courts, possible movie theaters, tons and tons of apparel and specialty stores. Now that is a pretty fantastic entrance to a mall. That looks really awesome. That's just cool. It looks like a spaceship. Or like the entertainment side of a brand new cruise ship. I don't know, it just looks really cool. That's badass. All right, so lifestyle centers. All right, chances are if you live in a big city, you've seen these. You just may not know what they were called. You just call it a mall. But the majority being without a roof, but carrying much of the same characteristics as a mall, right? Heavy on retail, specialty stores. They do have more full service restaurants than a typical mall, because the typical mall, it's not a drive-by, it's enclosed and you need to walk around the mall. It's more of a food court environment, where the outside, it's basically like a general retail. You can drive by it, take a look at it. They can have more outdoor seating. Most will have at least one department store, and we typically see high-end stores here. A great example of a lifestyle center is the Domain in Austin, Texas. It's a pretty unique environment. It's fantastic, right? They have some green space. They have areas where they can have bands playing, picnics, outdoor seating, tons of restaurant space. It's more inviting. But being more inviting, it's great for a while, but what if it's pouring down rain, right? What if it's 105 degrees outside? Sometimes they don't work the best for the consumer because you are not for the tenants, because as a consumer, I don't want to be walking around this lifestyle center just dripping with sweat because it's 105 degrees, or soaked because it's raining cats and dogs outside, right? So the normal typical mall, when it's extremely hot or the weather, it's snowing, like Mall of America in Minneapolis, right? If you have the elements coming into play, the tenants at a normal enclosed mall have a better opportunity because you are walking by their center and you have a better probability of walking in than you do in a lifestyle center on top of the elements. There's a picture of a corner of the Domain. It is a pretty cool place though. Lifestyle centers do a pretty good job. They're pretty unique. All right, the outlet malls. Typically known for outlet stores by name brand companies offering discounted products. These aren't enclosed and can be as large as a mall. Some of these are really, really big. They're great places to get last year's product at a massive discount. I try and buy all my Oakley sunglasses there or stuff like that because I know I can get them at like 35 to 40% discount. Just be prepared to walk a lot and deal with heavy traffic. There are also some restaurants on site. They try and enclose all the amenities together. A great example is the Outlet Mall in San Marcos. There you go. It looks almost like a lifestyle center, just not as updated, not as unique, not as upscale, but a ton of stores. You're walking outside, heavy discounts. All right, power centers. At 200,000 square feet and up, typically home of big box stores such as discounters, home improvements, retailers, and the large specialty chains like Walmart, Home Depot, Best Buy, Dick's Sporting Goods, fast food chains, and other eateries are often found on pad sites in their parking lots, right? We see a ton of these in mid to large markets. There you go. Now, community centers. Community centers, more commonly known as strip malls, typically in the 100 to 300,000 square foot range. Now, of course, the upper end of the community center is going to look like a power center, being 200 to 300,000 square feet. Drugstores, grocery stores, other retail, a restaurant or two. It's just not overly massive. Your neighborhood centers, smaller version of a community center. These are typically referred to as grocery anchored properties, along with other convenience retailers. They run up to 125,000 square feet. And then you have your convenience centers, right? Very small properties, usually less than 30,000 square feet. We've all seen these. They're filled with convenient-based retailers such as dry cleaners, nail salons, drugstores, and other types of shops where customers are looking for a quick purchase or service. Like, for example, where I live, like I said, tons of brand new communities, brand new developments. So on almost the front area of almost every single one of the new communities, there's a center, right? It's got a massage place, it's got a nail salon, it's got maybe a smoothie place, a hamburger joint, maybe a pizza place, nail salon, hair salon, chiropractor, right? They all just run in packs, right? Everyone has the same thing. It's your convenience. What are people most likely going to need or want as close as possible to their home? And then, all of these, we just roll up into retail. So no one's going to come to you and say, I need to be in a community center, right? They're going to say, I need 3,000 square feet with good visibility in a heavy demographic area, or the household's X, or there's X amount of households in the area, right? They want to know there's enough people that they can get access to, and they're most likely going to want to be somewhere where there is a lot of foot traffic because that gives them the best opportunity. And there you go. Metro PCS, Little Caesars, Subway, Dental, right? This is a great look of one of those community retail centers right in front of your community. There's, of course, your drugstores. All right, so other retail, right? We can consider several other asset retail, but they're more specialized, like gas stations, urban retail, mixed use properties with retail at the bottom, specialty stores that are standalone, retail designed for travelers, CVS type stores. That just kind of falls in its own unique category. All right. All right, make sure you know who and what is happening with regard to the retail in your area. Like, how do you take control of your market? That's why I always say we need to educate ourselves in the market. You need to become the professional. When we talk about lead generating, pick a corner and go get to know every single person. That's a lot harder in retail because there's not as many tenants. But what you can do is know where all the new development is happening, what the lease rates are doing, who seems to be busy, who seems not to be busy, what are the obstacles in this particular area, what's the draw, where's the next boom coming, where's the next household development going, where is everything moving to? Is there a way for you to tell? You got to follow the trends. You got to figure it out. You're the professional. And if you don't know, go look at the reports from JLL, Marks and Millichap, CBRE. Go look at reports. Go talk to the news people who report this because they like to report and they like to talk. Go talk to the brokers who've been in your city for a long time if you don't know. Identify the owners, identify the tenants, identify the property, identify the competition, identify the deals. You know, become the professional. Always strengthen your market intelligence whenever possible. The more you know, it comes out when you're lead generating. When you're talking to someone about the area, you're talking from experience, from knowledge. I get it. I understand this time is a struggle because that new center is being developed. I know they're redoing the awning in the facade of your building. Just hang tight because it's going to be fantastic when they get done. Is tenant mix important? That's a silly question, right? We just talked about that first thing. Why is it that some centers are booming? And why is it that some centers can't seem to keep tenants in a single space? I mean, have you ever wondered why some retailers centers survived and why some don't? Right? We've all seen that one location that for some reason, no matter what it is, it fails. I mean, why is that? Is it just a bad location? No visibility? Demographics of the area don't fit what they sell? Or is it just an unsustainable business? Right? So sometimes it's definitely, sometimes it's not the retail. Sometimes it is the demographics of your area. You need to sell your product in the area which you feel or should get the most attention. For example, if you go to the Star in Frisco, right? They have, it's where Cowboy Fit, where the Cowboys practice facility, right? They have a lot of sports geared stores and high-end restaurants and bars there because they know it's going to attract a lot of high-end clients. They know their product will sell because it's a rich target environment for them. You have to find the rich target environment for whatever you're selling to have the best chance of success, right? Whenever you're opening up your first location, that's what you want. The highest probability of success. You may have to spend a little more money, but why would you discount that to fail? Then you're just wasting money. So tenant mix it's really important and it can be a very difficult thing to track and see the trends and see why certain things are working. But the one thing you can do is go to the centers that are really kicking ass and look at their tenant mix, seeing how it looks during the day, at lunch, afternoon, and dinner. When is it the most crowded? When is it dead? Where are people going? How many people are in the shops? Because sometimes you could have 25 tenants. It looks packed, but the reality is there's only 3 to 5 stores that are getting all the cars. They have a fantastic restaurant. They have events going on at 4 o'clock, right? Try and figure out what's happening. Figure out which stores are getting the most attention. Okay, why are they getting the most attention? It's just research. You got to research and figure it out. And that's especially important if you are a tenant looking about or thinking about where should I place my business? Do I think I'll survive here? Go find the centers that are winning and figure out what's making them tick. All right, the lease rate's too high. That could be a big problem as well. There are a lot of factors in determining the longevity and sustained success of a center. It certainly isn't stagnant, right? Keeping upkeep, reviewing, spending money on capital improvements, you must keep up with the market. That's one of the things that good centers do. They're constantly leveling up. They're constantly striping the parking lot, trimming the trees, putting Christmas lights around the trees to make it bright at night and look badass. They're making the awnings fantastic, right? They just make it look inviting. One of the best I've seen in our area is Highland Park Village. So normally during the day, you wouldn't say much about it except for there's a lot of trees and the parking lot kind of sucks because you have to weave in and out. Now, you go there at night during the fall and the winter, wow, it is amazing. Every single tree has lights. I mean, it is just a Christmas wonderland in there. It is so inviting. I swear, people just drive through there like they're driving through a neighborhood looking at Christmas lights. They do a fantastic job. But you have to keep up with the market. What's the draw to your center? Why are people going to get excited to come? I know it's kind of a weird question when you ask about retail, but if they have the chance to go to your retail center or a different retail center, it's either going to be because yours is overly convenient and that is the only place they're going, or they're going to the other one because it's more inviting, there's more opportunity, there's more options, there could be something else they want to go see. Happy tenants with successful businesses don't move, right? It costs too much money. You want to do whatever it takes to keep your tenants happy. Like when we talked about landlord representation, keep your tenants happy. Go talk to them. Ask them how they feel about the tenant mix. You know, I'm really happy that you're here. I'm so glad we got this to work out for your business. By the way, how is business? If they say great, well, that's fantastic. Who else do you think we should look at getting and pulling in, or what would be a complementary tenant to your business? I would really want to make this a win for you. And so is there another company that would come in here and just really complement y'all well and potentially give you more business? Right? A lot of these retail centers are near the parking lots of Anchor, near the parking lot of Home Depot, near the parking lot of Lowe's, near the parking lot of Academy, Kroger, HEB, a large retailer that's pulling a lot of cars automatically. So when people leave, they see Starbucks, right? They see whatever, they're drawn over there and they go. All right, as a broker, when you are negotiating a retail deal, 99% of the time, we do not get a renewal commission like we talked about. Now, why is that? The reason is the owners know when someone has a successful business at a specific location due to drive-by repeat business, that tenant isn't going anywhere. Unlike office or industrial where the location doesn't matter as much. There's far fewer great locations because retail is so location specific. Office and industrial, it's not that location specific. People aren't usually driving by saying, well, I need to go into that Allstate office. I need insurance today. Doesn't happen. Where if you're driving by a fantastic restaurant that looks great outside and there's a line out the door, you're like, wonder why there's a line there. I need to go check that place out. So even if I'm the landlord rep and I am working for the owner, I'm going to say the same thing. If someone asks for a renewal, like, you don't need to pay them a renewal. They're not going to kill the deal for it. You can ask, I ask, but most time the answer is no. All right, so how do we maintain a good tenant mix? How do we know when to reevaluate our tenants or not renew? And one of the best ways is to see if new things are happening in your market and you get a lot of attention over there, go drive by and find out why. Is it just because it's new? Is it because the center looks amazing? Are they offering something you don't have? Does your center look tired? Are some of your tenants going out? Ask your tenants, how's business? Is there anything we can do to make this better? Have you found anything that's not appealing about our retail center? You may not like the answer, but guess what? You want happy tenants. That's going to show them you care. And even as the broker, you could do this as a favor to the owner. And guess what that's going to do as well? Get you more rapport with the tenants. I mean, get the property manager involved. Hey, what have you seen? What's been happening? Have you heard anything? Has anyone paid late? Are they paying early? Are they paying on time? What's been said? Do we have any capital improvement issues? When do we need to spend money on CapEx? Almost as soon as you notice something, you should be thinking about it, at least putting money in reserves. But again, parking lot issues, trees falling over, landscape needs to be constantly redone, bark mulch, trees trimmed, bushes trimmed. Make sure there's nothing wrong with the curbs and the handicap spots. Make sure it's striped properly. Make sure no one's run into a pole and knocked it over. Make sure there's no chips in the awning. Make sure the monument sign is up to date. Make sure all the lights work. Make sure you're not violating any hazardous issues, but constantly spend money on CapEx. Now, I'm not talking about the major CapEx. The major CapEx is refacading the whole building, redoing the roof, repaving the entire parking lot. Those are different. You should be saving money for those anyways, because there is a shelf life on all. And we do have to look at that in the next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Right? Who do we look for advice from? The brokers, the tenants. I mean, the brokers are going to be leading tenants into your center or not to your center. Ask them, have you had anyone who's looked at our center? Have you had anyone who you thought would be a good fit and they didn't make it? Why not? Ask questions. How do we justify the cost to improve our buildings? Well, what's the cost if you don't? It's like, what's the cost if you continue to educate? What's the cost if you continue to lead generate versus you don't? Self-improvement, you're improving the building. You just have to do it. It's just cost of doing business. If you don't do it, the tenants will feel it, your building will look tired, and then things will start cracking, get out of control, and then you're spending twice as much money to get it back where it would have cost you half as much. You got to stay on top of it. Tenant mix. The best indicator is the tenants' businesses are all doing okay and they are happy. That is a great sign. How do you know? You ask, right? Too many of these owners do not talk to the tenants. They're just handling their other business. They're just taking care of other things. Now, it doesn't need to be the owner, but it's got to be somebody, the broker, the management company. It needs to be somebody asking and engaging these people. It shows you care. The small things make a difference, right? It's a feel-good moment. Most tenants never meet the actual owner. That is the truth. They meet the broker, property manager. Some owners don't ever meet the tenants. What if you did? What might that do? As a tenant, heck, even a residential tenant at an apartment complex. What if the owner came up and said, one day and said, hey, Gary, I'm Robert. I'm the owner here and just wanted to say thank you for being a great tenant. How's business? Is there anything we can do to help improve your experience? It's pretty awesome. Not only will you potentially get insight on how they are doing, but you get direct answers to what CapEx you may need to do in the next 12 months, if not immediately. People like to know they are heard and that their opinion matters, even if it doesn't, right? People just want to know they matter. And too many people just kind of, they'll go away, they'll forget about it, they'll stop bitching, right? Just get ahead of things. Care. Most of the time, we want to have exclusive businesses in the center. We talked about that before, right? If you have a nail salon, you don't want to bring in 2 other nail salons. That just cannibalizes the business. You don't want to do that. You don't want 2, I just said that. You don't want 2 nail salons in the same center. You don't want 2 hamburger restaurants and 2 smoothie or juice tenants, right? This mainly applies to the smaller retail centers. Once you get into a mall environment, that goes out the window, as they're so big, right? They could have 4 nail salons. Just pick a corner. So it does depend on size and how far away they are. But typically speaking, if I'm opening up a business and it's a community center, I want the exclusive. I don't want competition in this strip, right? If I'm paying you this much money, give me the exclusive. Do the tenants drive traffic, or are they benefiting from the traffic being driven by the rest, right? Or by the anchor? Like we talked about, a lot of these tenants want to be near a Walmart, Academy, Kroger, Home Depot. What's the big draw? That means you have a ton of drive-by traffic already helping you out. The more drivers you have, the more likely the rest of the stores will reap the reward and everybody wins. When the anchors exit, we usually see the center start to slip. You can see that if you had like a small, like a Galaxy movie theater, the old style, the small movie theaters, or a Key sports bar, something went out. Everyone else started suffering if that just stays vacant. If you have a large gym, like a 24-hour fitness or Anytime Fitness that was occupying, let's say 20, 30, 40,000 square feet, and then you had some older retail next door to it, but that was drawing enough traffic to help those survive. If that business shuts down, you don't have any drive-by traffic anymore. It makes it much harder for those tenants. Their marketing dollars have to increase dramatically to get the same result, if ever. Yeah, the asset needs to be repositioned or a new anchor needs to come in immediately to help those tenants out. And that's when you, the owner of the broker, has got to step in, help out. Demographics play a huge role as well, right? High-end specialty stores need to be in a location with a high average income, high household income. That's why you see Dollar Generals and discount retailer shops pop up in lower income areas. They are going to the customer versus the customer driving to them, so to speak. Now that can not always be the case because you could have nothing around. That's why the Dollar General or whatever popped up there, and then the community grew to it, but it stayed. It can still win, but typically speaking, they go to a certain areas for a reason. And there's a reason we're on tenant mix for so long. It's really important. It's time to reevaluate the tenant mix when we start to see fewer and fewer cars in the parking lot. Tenants start asking for a reduction in rent. The anchor won't return our phone calls when we start calling about renewing. The tenants will let you know. And if they don't, it can happen pretty quickly. That's why you got to stay on top of it. If you don't stay on top of it, pretty quick, you could be vacated in 6 months to a year. Is there a reason? Is there a new center down the street? Have the rates dropped in the area? Are we too high? Has something happened to this location? Did COVID-19 come in and wipe everybody out? Maybe. But if it's happening to you, you got to make sure it's not happening somewhere else. Or if it is happening somewhere else, it could be a citywide, statewide COVID thing. Then there's not much you can do. You got to ask everybody to hang on tight and do what you can. Talk to your lenders, try and roll that debt that you can't pay to the back end of the note. Just try and survive and help the tenant survive as best you can. Everybody suffers together in this kind of time. Find out, educate yourself on the why, adapt, and move on. If you have a toxic tenant, do not renew. If they're always complaining, talking bad to the other tenants, not maintaining the appearance the way it should be, hearing customer complaints, what if they have 5 years left and always pay on time? Find out what's going on, adapt, or make a decision, right? Just do what you can. All you can control is what you can and can't do. Do your best. Always stay up to date on CapEx. Stay relevant, stay leased, right? When to spend money on CapEx. I mean, that's important. Always stay up to date. Stay relevant, stay leased. If you see new retail popping up, it draws attention. Make sure your parking, paint, awnings, monument signage, facade, tenant signs are in good shape and fully functioning, right? There's nothing worse than having the lights on the back of a tenant sign, half the lights are gone. There's 2 nameplates missing on the monument sign. One of them's leaning sideways, right? Someone ran into the side of it and it's chipped. It just doesn't look good at all. The moment you see your property looking tired, everyone else has already noticed, right? Lighting, landscaping, and paint go a long way. So we're not talking about major renovations. Just stay on top of the little things. The little things matter. The simple things can mean the most. The outside appearance is your biggest value play. Adding layers, texture, or metal and wood accents are killer and not that expensive. It doesn't have to be a ton of money. It just needs to look great. Overpromise and then over deliver, right? Tell them you're going to make their center look better and then make it look great. How can we justify the cost? Right? If you want your rents to continue to see a 3% increase year over year, they will expect to see a property being well kept. And what is the risk of not doing any CapEx? If you have a tenant already leaving, the cost is much higher to market, pay TI, pay commissions, and then holding costs. If there's a way to get them excited, comfortable, happy, wanting to bring more other tenants into the place because they're excited about being there, so much more affordable when you're spending $10 a foot to continuously upkeep your property than if they leave. You got those holding costs, your commissions are going to be 6% of the lease, your TI dollars could be $10, $15 a foot right there. I mean, it's a no-brainer. If you can do it, do it. Where to seek advice or help? Tenants are your best friend. We keep talking about that. Go talk to the tenants. And if it's not you, make sure the manager is doing a good job here. Now, one of the things I've noticed about property managers are, like a lot of things, they get tired, they get complacent, right? There's always a new company willing to court you for property management business. The problem is they come in hot and heavy, they come in excited, they say, we got you, we're gonna take care of your clients, take care of your retail center, we're super excited, thank you so much for the opportunity, high energy. They go talk, get everything laid out, get a game plan, everything's going great the first quarter, first 6 months, and then slowly it just becomes a little bit less, then a little bit less, and then they're just collecting rent, they're not talking to anybody unless they're late, that kind of thing. They just get tired, they get complacent. They're on to the next 5, the next 10, the next 13th property they went after. That's where their excitement is. They're not excited about this anymore. That's one of the issues with property management. They need to stay on top of it because it matters. They need to go talk to the tenants. It may not matter to them, but remind them it mattered to you as the owner and the broker, especially if you're the broker leasing the center for them. They better be on the ball, right? Go to the new cool center and ask the manager, wow, I love this building. It's so awesome. What made y'all come to this location? Ask. Was it demographics? Was it the price was fantastic? Was they willing to give them a turnkey space, meaning the ownership finished it out for them, free to move, basically? I mean, the better tenant mix, what was it? Just ask. They did a great job renovating this place. You know, how are you liking it? Would you recommend it? I mean, what do you like so much about it, and why? This, of course, you asking the tenants, right? You get the answers when you ask the questions. Also ask the brokers. Hey, Robert, what are the tenants being drawn to right now? Just any availability in the square footage? Is it a new look, a new location? Are they moving back to the CBD, the Central Business District area downtown? What are you seeing the most, where are you seeing the most activity? What should we do to attract more tenants to our location? How are the prices changing lately? What are you seeing in the market today? Is everyone moving back to a gross lease, but yet we're stuck in a triple net, so we're screwed? What's happening? What can we do to stay competitive, to stay leased? What to ask or look for? Location, layout, price, demographics, other tenants, visibility, drive-by traffic, new developments in the area, TI allowance, term desired, workforce in area, all great things to know and use when either searching for a location or understanding so you can better serve the tenants looking. Remember, when you enter an emerging market, it becomes harder because there will continue to be an influx of newer tenants trying out the market. New developments pulling tenants away and from your store, better locations. When you find a location that works as a tenant, I want to know the following. How large is the space? How are the other tenants liking being here? What is the rate? What are the triple nets and what do they cover? Is there any TI available? Where in the center will my space be? How soon can we get started? How soon do you think we can finish the improvement so I can occupy it? Right? These are just questions that I would ask as a tenant. Again, what to ask or look for. As a landlord, I'd be asking, what type of business are you in? How long have you been in that business? Is this your first location? What made you choose this area? How long of a term are you looking for? What type of finish out are you looking to do? How many square feet do you need? Once you think the tenant is a good fix and you start negotiating, most owners are requesting to see PFS, a personal financial statement, or at least a business financial statement if this is an ongoing or second location. We talked about that in tenant rep and landlord rep. Prepare your tenants to get a business plan and able to show financials of the business or them personally to show the owner, if worse comes to worse, we know that you can personally pay this rent. When the market is hot, we see a ton of personal guarantees. When the market is soft, we see these go away. Owners want to make sure the tenant has the ability to pay the rent even if the business is suffering. Ask the broker later, have y'all seen a lot of spaces? Do you think this will be a good location for their business? Is the rate in line with their budget, right? These are all closing, selling questions. All right, action items, homework. Complete the following exercises. Look at 10 deals this week. Retail. From a tenant's perspective, would I want to lease here? And why? Evaluate your top 3 and say why. So go look at 10 and then which ones you like the best and why do you think you like them the best? If you can, ideally, you're going to go much further than just drive-bys. You're going to go look at LoopNet or CoStar or Crexi or try and find numbers any way you can online. Type in the address to try and figure it out. See what the lease rates are. Gather as much info as you can. Number 2, continue to contact your top 3 buckets that you agreed were non-negotiable must-dos. Start time blocking to contact 20 people per day, specifically asking for new business or for looking for opportunities. Right? And again, how can we get you into that first deal today? What needs to happen? We are here to help. Use the mastermind community. Ask, what's moving? Where is it moving? How can I help you? Is there anything we can do here in Texas? Use the community. And again, we're going to talk about this every time. Did you time block? Have you worked on your time blocking to educate lead gen follow-up? Have you picked your top 3 bucket lists? Why not? You need to be contacting those every day. Have you reviewed those 10 deals from last week or last module? We can't make you get into action, right? The ones who succeed get into action. Are you going to be all talk or are you going to take massive action to reach your true potential? Right? Talent is overrated. You could be the smartest or the dumbest person in the room, but without leads, you're the same person. Get into action today. All right, I think we already stopped sharing. All right, yeah, we did. All right, so this on the building side, it can be a little bit dry because it's a lot of facts and just me ranting and raving. So, all right, guys. Well, again, thanks for your time. And the documents like this, the Word docs, like they can be a little dry because it's a lot of information. The other videos we're going to shoot, we're going to be walking into the retail center and we're going to be pointing things out. We're going to go on the roof. It'll be much more interactive. And then we're going to play and talk about it during the live training because we're doing a live deal. Those are going to always be a little bit more impactful because we're walking through the process together as opposed to me just reading from a script, which is always much more difficult. It is better than you just reading from a PowerPoint or a Word doc because you get both. But so don't forget, the first Thursday is over the education. We're going to go over it, answer questions. It'll be much more interactive than me just sitting here talking. And the third is going to be on a live transaction. Go check out the documents. If you have questions, use the workplace, or I'm sorry, use the Facebook mastermind community. Send me an email, ask questions, and we'll see you on the next module. Take care. You all have a great time. Let's go kick some ass, get into action. We'll see y'all soon.